For those of you that have been to a Curious Case session before, I can be quite mean to my panelists. But for the panelists' sake, I've been asked to be nicer. I will be nicer. I promised your respective comms teams that I will not put you through an ordeal. But what we want to talk about today is 2025. There's been a lot of talk about this year. There was a lot of news yesterday that's going to shape how we think, what we do, and how we're going to look at growth and some of the opportunities and challenges. So I'm going to start with the first question. And I know Hatem was very insistent. He said, can you ask me the first question, please? And can you ask me the last question, please? Very, very insistent. And I thought I'd call you out on that, Hatem. We're going to start with Mimi to start with, I think. So Mimi, the macro environment in 2025. So, you know, for anything to happen, we need to take into context what is that environment going to look like? And I'm happy to take that from a Thailand perspective or from a Southeast perspective. And if you want to go broader than that, please do so.
Okay, thank you so much, Pat, for having me here. In terms of the economic, my perspective, actually, I would like to focus on the Southeast Asia part because we are like a tech ecosystem builder to help and support the startup across Southeast Asia. I think some people think that it's quite a challenge, but at the same time, I think we have seen there are many opportunities in Southeast Asia. One of the highlights that I think is one of the good examples that show why Southeast Asia is really important for the global market is a semiconductor area. As we have known that the AI is, we consume a lot of the computing processing, right? So semiconductor is a key highlight part, but at the same time, as we have known, there are like a geopolitical issue all around the world. And there are many countries and also the key stakeholder who, I don't want to mention the name, but for the semiconductor producer, like traditional way, normally they will take care of both the design part and also the production part as a manufacturing.
Can I mention the name?
TSMC, the example. But right now, I think one of the, I think that the landscape is quite a change. The key stakeholder, they will not take care of the whole process of the semiconductor production. They trying to mitigate risk. So some of the part like manufacturing and production, they will select Southeast Asia as one of the market that they would like to invest. And not just only semiconductor, like data center as well. And the software sector like OpenAI, they also opened the office in Singapore already. So we have seen there are many opportunities that driven by the technology. This is in my opinion, that we have seen right now.
Thank you very much, Mimi. And so if we go from Thailand now to Japan, Keiji, do you want to share what you think will unfold in 2025 for Japan and maybe more broadly Northeast Asia, but that's your call.
Yes. First of all, thank you for inviting me on this stage. SMBC is one of the largest banks, commercial bank in Japan, and also, SMBC launched corporate venture capital covering the Asia regions for the investment, accelerate the business development. And I would like to share from my perspective from the large corporate side and the startup side. And in terms of the growth and the innovation of the 2025, I'm expecting the growth and innovation ignited by generative AI's pragmatic application and tangible application. That's a keyword I'm thinking right now. And AI and analytics pragmatic adoption and across the industries. And also some collaboration with some large corporate existing business and new technologies will be the key of the success. And but on the other hand, based on I remember the Gartner's research, many of some AI-related projects 30% of the project will be stopped by 2025, and also 85% of the AI-related POC or experimental initiative is under the estimation, and so many corporate customers feeling the fatigue, and also very skeptical for some essential functionality of some AI. But we have to shift from that kind of some POC and some experimental stage to a pragmatic kind of some transformation of the existing business. So that's a keyword of some 2025. And as a bank, we can accelerate. That's kind of some collaboration of the large corporation and the new technologies, the startups for the transformation for the sustainable growth.
So if we're saying that in Thailand, we see growth coming from semiconductors, we see a little bit around that sparking a positive environment, and in Japan, you're saying that AI is going to drive the environment. Let's move over to the Middle East. So Hatem, what are you seeing from a macro perspective? And then we're going to go into growth anyway. So from a macro perspective, how do you see, and obviously the news yesterday that no one is going to comment about or talk about, just whisper in corners. What do you see for 2025? Because yesterday is obviously going to impact everything. So,
thank you, Pat. It's wonderful to be back to Singapore. So thank you for having me, Pat. And Singapore is not where I live, but every time I'm here, it feels coming home. And congratulations on that wonderful festival. What energy, what vibrant ecosystem that you have here is really refreshing. Now, from global macroeconomics, it's fair to say that we are in much better place than we've been 1 or 2 years ago. We all recall all these aviation terms that we've heard: soft landing, hard landing, crash landing, even no landing. Better not to be on the flight. But reality is here. Economies are more resilient. And while 1 year ago we estimated that the growth for this year will be 2%, we are ending it south of 3%. And with some pragmatic optimisms, we can see it even at 3.2, 3.1. And next year, which will be even higher, 2025, we estimated at 3.5%. So that's on a global level. When it comes to different regions, I do believe that each geography has its moment. And now is the Middle East moment. It is booming, literally. It started 2 years ago, and I believe that it will continue for the next decade. I've been in Qatar for the last 15 years. And when you see Qatar post-2022 World Cup, it's wonderful that infrastructure that has been built, roads, metros, leading universities coming to Qatar. That's because the government is committed to build a knowledge-based economy. And big techs, they understood this. Microsoft, Google, they are building their data centers in Qatar for the region. And it's not just the fintechs and the tech environment, but it goes also from the investment perspective. Qatar Investment Authority committed early this year $1 billion for fund of funds, and that's to attract the best VCs and founders in the region to foster more and more this innovation ecosystem. It's not just Qatar. Look at the neighbors, Dubai, Abu Dhabi, Saudi. They are investing billions in the innovation ecosystems and trillions in the infrastructure. Dubai just announced the largest airport in the world. We're talking about $35 billion investment. That's more than 250 million passengers a year. Saudi, more than 20 mega projects. NEOM alone is 8 big cities with trillions of investments. So yes, it is the right time to be in the Middle East and to come and contribute to that momentum.
Thank you very much, Hatem. So if anyone's fundraising in the audience, you know where to go. Speak to this man. He'll be free in about 20 minutes or so. He'll be round the back. He's there, checkbook in hand. So we're going to go into growth. So Keiji, you mentioned a bit around AI. I know this is a topic that's close to your heart, Keiji. So maybe you could share a little bit around where you see this growth coming from, and we can kind of intersect the next question if you want to. But maybe share a little bit more around growth.
Okay, from the Japan's players, like Japan's corporate startup standpoint, I can say kind of some global customer base approach by technologies. Yeah, let me explain. For example, in terms of the Japanese startups, until recently, sometimes Japanese startups recognize very small variation exists and a small amount of the investment from the domestic VCs with focusing on the Japanese market or something like that. But recently, many of the Japanese startups, some expanding their business to abroad from the beginning. For example, yeah, recently we have invested in one of some startups. It's called ASNE. It's a decarbonization analytics and some visualization solutions. They are now, yeah, from the beginning, expanding their business in Southeast Asia and the US. And their aspiration is to become the sustainability and decarbonization data platforms in the world. It's a very good aspiration. And also another one is SMBC CloudSign. It's incubated by our bank. It's one of some startups and providing the contract lifecycle management in Japan. But now they are trying to collaborate with India startup to expand their business, Japan plus Southeast Asia and India, and at the same time enhancing the technology with some India's startups. That's some startup side. And large cap corporate side, and in terms of the kind of some abroad, outside of the Japan's market, they are moving from the just investment in a startup to some pragmatic business collaboration with each region's startups for their new business. Yeah, for example, yeah, we are discussing with one of the automotive parts manufacturing companies in Japan, but they developed kind of some new business development team in Bangalore, India, and to launch the e-commerce with collaborating with India domain supply chain finance platforms. It's a kind of they are trying to transform their business from the existing business opportunities. That's kind of some growth I'm seeing, some changing some Japanese corporate and players and changing their mind and pursuing some growth and further.
Thank you. So if you're looking for a follow-on round, I think Keiji may be able to help you there, or if you're looking for partnerships. So we're going to move on to applications of technology in particular. I think you've touched upon this already, but Mimi, you talked about semiconductors. Is there particular things that you're seeing in Thailand? What new applications of technology? Because we're seeing across this whole yesterday, today, tomorrow, we're seeing lots of ideas come out. We're seeing applications of AI. What are you really seeing on the ground level within Bangkok and broader Thailand?
Right now, they are really excited in the technology that call AI agent, or some company they call it agentic AI, which is most of the people familiar with the generative AI as an advisor. But right now, the AI can take action, not just only giving the insight, but also take an action instead of us. So we have seen that there are many big players like Salesforce, Google, Microsoft, even like LinkedIn. They also launched their own AI agent but focus on particular area that they have the expertise. But at the same time, the tech startup company as well, they're trying to build the AI agent platform to help the big corporate as well to develop their own AI agent easier. So this is the way that we have seen next year most of the tech companies and big corporate in Thailand will focus in this sector, the AI agent. And the second one is, this is the application part, right? But another side is AI governance platform is very important right now. We have seen that how can we make sure that all of the AI application that we are using today have covered the ethical issue, transparency. There are so many issues that happen right now. So the government sector and also the private sector have to focus on the way how to build their own AI governance system. And the last one, I think, is very excited because actually, last few days, I just finished the hackathon together with MIT and one of the leading hospital in Thailand that called Sirirat Hospital. And we talk a lot about it's like a revolution of healthcare industry that we haven't seen before throughout this century. Is this a solution that comes from the Google DeepMind? They launched the platform that called AlphaFold. This is like an AI system to predict the protein 3D structure. So and this kind of the data is open for all the researchers all around the world. So the way how we can develop the drug, the way that how we can develop the precise medicine is totally changed when compared with last few years. So I think that the healthcare industry, medtech as well, I think will be changed totally by the AI.
That's great to hear, and I think there's a lot of good talent in Thailand, and it's good to see that these breakthroughs are happening as well. So Hatem, my favorite. So maybe we can switch gears a little bit from AI to maybe tokenization or digital assets more broadly. As the largest bank in the Middle East and Africa, what are some of the things that you're seeing there, and what can we expect in 2025 that's different, that's new?
Thank you, Pat. Just before answering your question, I would like just to mention that with all these new technologies and all these excitement with, I would like to have 2 words on what I call the old and new, things that were really exciting, and we don't talk that much of these, but they are essential really to unlock what I call the new. And for me, this old and new that is not sexy and is really painful, it's mandatory. We need to continue on digitizing the paper-based processes, to automate our operations, to revamp our technological park. We always say the future is here. Yes, it's here, but not everywhere. And we need really to continue that mandatory work so that we have the right technological stack to build the new things that are really exciting. Now, when it comes to new, yes, we are living in a thriving environment of wonderful technologies that spans from artificial intelligence, quantum, blockchain, Internet of Things, and I do believe tokenization is a wonderful, field. When you look at the forecasts for the tokenization from the World Economic Forum, we predict that by 2027 we'll have more than 10% of the global GDP tokenized and stored on a blockchain. That's tomorrow, and that's a huge. And for us, yes, we have a commitment really to be the bridge between the traditional finance towards the DeFi and unlock a lot of these applications, and even go a bit beyond and build something where you have many technologies contributing to a wonderful application. That's not just tokenization, that's not just blockchain, that's all these with artificial intelligence powered by a quantum platform. That's probably a bit futuristic, but we are thinking of this and experimenting this. Yeah, we've done many things on tokenization for cross-border payments. That's just to tokenize the deposits and then use them and streamline our operations for the remittance everywhere in the world. We have great partners for all these infrastructure that we are building, but that's because we do believe that tokenization will disrupt the value chain of banking, and instead of having the banking just as a financial providers, they will move forward to what I call the trusted infrastructure provided. And with that, you can imagine, for example, a private credit platform where you have all these individuals, corporates with excess cash, that they would like really to generate a bit more than the deposit rate for this cash. You tokenize them, you store them on a blockchain, and then you empower an AI, artificial intelligence engine, so that they can do the matching with the borrowers that we would like to pay premium on this, or even better than that, matching with the AIs. Imagine that every stakeholder on that private credit platform has his or her own AI agent that will go to negotiate with the other AI agent of the borrowers to take really the best offer. Why? Because these AI reasoning engines, that won't happen overnight, probably in 5-7 years when we have these engines, they will negotiate together. They will find the best deals because they know your preferences in terms of return, in terms of maturity, in terms of yield and coupons. And then they will go over the million stakeholders on these platforms, give you the best deals. And once the best deals are there, we can have a human intervention here just to validate the best deal. It will be executed on the blockchain, and then smart contracts will be just executed between the borrower, the lender, all this on infrastructure powered by a bank because they have the trust of these stakeholders.
So it's like the interplay of technologies here, but do you trust your AI agent, or will you trust your AI agent?
That's where the fintechs will kick in, because we have the infrastructure, and then every fintechs or a tech can imagine that models that will be experimented by you, and then you choose the ones that you trust because they are actually having the best return for you. And with this profiling that will be, running for you, you can have then millions of negotiations happening through probably a quantum platform that we hopefully have in a decade, and executed for you automatically.
And it's going to cost a lot of money for these things. So we're going to kind of segue into the investment landscape, and I'm just going to continue on this theme here.
Yes.
We, depending on who you talk to, we're still in a funding winter. What do you see for 2025? Are we still going to be in this cold place? Is it going to warm up? What's going to happen? Are you going to start spending some money across multiple sectors, get a kickstart back in the industry? What's going to happen?
I think from VC investment perspectives, I expect that 2025 will be a dynamic year. That's an optimism, but that's also driven by 3 key elements. I think that we are heading towards a low interest rate environment, so that's favorable really for having access to low-cost funds, and that's both for VCs and the fintechs. Second, valuation, I do believe that we'll reach a bottom in 2025. That means a lot of compelling opportunities and good opportunities for the VCs. And third, it's that IPOs and exits markets will really rebound. That's my expectation, at least, and we are seeing it going forward. And that's key for not just only validating the investment, but to fuel the reinvestments. And in the Middle East, yes, that's something that is happening even to another level, because we would like really to boost that innovation ecosystem. We've seen a lot of the VCs relocating to Saudi. Now we are counting more than 60 VCs there. And we've seen that the investment in the Middle East, the VC investment, has increased not just in amount, but also in terms of the number of investors. We've seen 30% more investors, and that shows the strong interest from international and regional investors to the region. And the ticket size also, we've seen it shifting from what it was to the early stage fintechs and startups. That's the amounts between 1 million to 5 million investments. And we've seen that while the early stage investment was 3-4 years ago at 12-15% of the whole investments, being now 45% of the whole investment that is happening in the Middle East. That's a strong commitment to the innovation and fueling the new ideas in the region.
So it's looking positive then. Mimi, what's your thoughts then? Thailand's had some tough times recently, like the rest of Southeast Asia. What do you see for Thailand next year?
I think for the situation like funding winter, in my opinion, I think that the situation will be better when compared with this year, but recover in some particular area instead. It's not like the whole or the every sector. I would like to highlight maybe like the two industry that the money will come into Southeast Asia. For example, like ESG sector. When we mention about the ESG, the first one is energy sector. I think that we have seen there are many opportunities. One of the fund that come to this region is the global fund like Breakthrough Energy, owned by Bill Gates, already set up here. Another one is Mandalay Capital from Indonesia. They also co-invest together with Investible from Australia. So they focusing on climate tech solution. But this is just only for the E, like related to environment part. But for the social part, it also cover healthcare, education, and also the poverty issue. So for S, I think it's quite hard to find the fund, the sort of fund right now. But for E, because everyone realize we have to achieve the net zero. Everyone have to bring in the ESG into their business strategy. And the World Economic Forum mentioned about this topic. So I think that everyone, okay, we have to focus on environment part, but I think we still need more tech startup to address about the social issue as well.
No, that's good to hear, and it's not optional anymore. Keiji, do you want to share, because there's a lot of capital flowing around in Japan, do you want to share a little bit about what you see in 2025?
Yes. Yeah, I want to share the Japan and some Asia, some situation. And yeah, in terms of the funding winter until recently, we have to think about back to basics. Yeah, because before the funding winters, some VCs, it's like some blitz scaling was good situation. Some investing a little bit too rapidly, focusing on some rapid growth of some startup, and variation was decided by some growth of the customer acquisition with a proper path to profitabilities. Then now, yeah, after some funding winter started, many of the VCs started to watch the business fundamentals and some EBITDA positive and some quality growth. It's some momentum so far. And yeah, from some SMBC and corporate venture capital standpoint, we always prioritize the business fundamentals with some quality growth because yeah, our perspective is business development and strategic collaboration with some startups, regardless of the kind of some cyclical venture capital variation up and down cycle trend. Yeah, that's a point. So in case of for example, as one of some industry, yeah, we are paying attention to is some supply chain. Due to some geopolitical reason, now some trade corridor has been decentralized and diversified. And yeah, for example, some trade corridor from in and out from the Southeast Asia and the Middle East has been increased. And then But compared with a conventional trade corridor, now some new trade corridor was quite fragmented, and the huge gap of some operation. That's why we are paying attention to some supply chain areas, supply chain platforms and trade finance players, and also logistics and cross-border payment, and also factory automation, etc. That's one of the some important sectors. And as Mimi said, healthcare, construction, manufacturing, and that's kind of some industry is a quite a huge demand and the needs to some invest and also expanding their business. It's some Japan and Asia regions. So that's the point I'm paying attention to right now for the some 2025.
No, thank you very much. And I think we have timed out now. Unless you've got literally one-liner of something, a bright spot that we can expect in 2025, but it has to be a one-liner. KJ, do you want to say a one-liner? And then we'll go Mimi, and then we go Hatem, and then we have to rush off the stage because there was a lot of things going on today.
Okay, it's
One
very
line.
hard to one line. I want to emphasize healthy sense of urgency and aspiration of the transformative change for the large corporation. And the startups should recognize that situation. And there will be a huge collaboration opportunities. And SMBC are willing to connect, bridge those collaboration for the further some business growth.
Great. Come and speak to him if you're in that space.
For me,
Mimi, one line.
only paranoid will survive. It's very short, but very important for all big corporate. They can survive. It's like the wording from, if we don't know that which, currently it's like not just only the competitors that you compete with, but actually you compete with everyone across any industry. But try to find the opportunities by create the collaboration. So only paranoid will survive. This is one of the key messages I would like to emphasize.
Cool. One line.
All these technologies are stimulating, fascinating, but when it comes to what I'm excited really about, it's not the artificial intelligence, it's the human intelligence. I'm deeply touched by the brilliant minds, by that collective intelligence that comes from the discussions with the true innovators, with the great founders that take bold steps forward, that embrace the unknown. You know, finance and technology has limitless potential, and life is too short to play small on our talents. So let's play big.
Thank you very much. And in one line, thank you.